Common sense. How to exercise it. The quality popularly designated as common sense comprehends, according to the modern point of view, the sound judgment of mankind when reflecting upon problems of truth and conduct without bias from logical subtleties or selfish interests. It is one of nature's priceless gifts, an income in itself. It is as valuable as its application is rare. How often we hear the expression, "Why, I never thought of that." Why? Because we have failed to exercise common sense, that genius of mankind which, when properly directed, is the one attribute that will carry man and his kind successfully through the perplexities of life. Common sense is as a plant of delicate growth in need of careful training and continued watching, so that it may bear fruit at all seasons. In the teachings that follow, the venerable shogun, Yoritomo Tashi, points out that common sense is a composite product consisting of 1. Perception, 2. Memory, 3. Thought, 4. Alertness, 5. Deduction, 6. Foresight, 7. Reason, and 8. Judgment. Discussing each of these separately, he indicates their relations and how they may be successfully employed. Further, he warns one against the dangers that lurk in moral inertia, indifference, sentimentality, egotism, etc. Common sense is a quality that must be developed if it is to be utilized to the full of its practical value. Indispensable to this development are such qualifications: 1. Ability to grasp situations. 2. Ability to concentrate the mind. 3. Keenness of perception. 4. Exercise of the reasoning power. 5. Power of approximation. 6. Calmness. 7. Self-control, etc. Once mastered, these qualifications enable one to reap the reward of a fine and an exalted sense, and of a practical common sense, which sees things as they are and does things as they should be done. The desire for knowledge, like the thirst for wealth, increases by acquisition. But as Bishop Lee has told us, knowledge without common sense is folly. Without method, it is waste. Without kindness, it is fanaticism. Without religion, it is death. But Dean Farrar added, with common sense, it is wisdom. With method, it is power. With charity, beneficence. With religion, it is virtue, life, and peace. In these pages, Yoritomo Tashi teaches his readers how to overcome such defects of the understanding as may beset them. He shows them how to acquire and develop common sense and practical sense, how to apply them in their daily lives, and how to utilize them profitably in the business world. To him, common sense is the crown of all faculties. Exercised vigilantly, it leads to progress and prosperity. Therefore, says he, enthusiasm is as brittle as crystal, but common sense is durable as brass. The Publishers. Preface. Why should I hesitate to express the pleasure I felt on learning that the public, already deeply interested in the teachings of Yoritomo Tashi, desired to be made familiar with them in a new form? This knowledge meant many interesting and pleasant hours of work in prospect for me, recalling the time passed in an atmosphere of that peace which gives birth to vibrations of healthful thoughts whose radiance vitalizes the soul. It was also with a zeal intensified by memories of the little deserted room in the Provincial Museum, where silence alone could lend rhythm to meditation, that I turned over again and again the leaves of those precious manuscripts, translating the opinions of him whose keen and ornate psychology we have so often enjoyed together. It was with the enthusiastic attention of the disciple that once more I scanned the pages where the broadest and most humane compassion allies itself with those splendid virtues, energy, will, and reason. For although Yoritomo glorifies the will and energy under all their aspects, he knows also how to find in his heart that tenderness which transforms these forces, occasionally somewhat brutal, into powers for good, whose presence are always an indication of favorable results. He knows how to clothe his teachings in fable and appealing legend, and his exotic soul, so near and yet so far, reminds one of a flower whose familiar aspect is transmuted into a rare perfume. By him, the sternest questions are stripped of their hostile aspects, and present themselves in the alluring form of the simplest allegories of striking poetic intensity. When reading his works, one recalls unconsciously the orations of the ancient philosophers delivered in those dazzling gardens, luxuriant in sunlight and fragrant with flowers. In this faraway past, one sees also the silhouette of a majestic figure, whose school of philosophy became a religion which interested the world, because it spoke both of love and goodness. But in spite of this fact, the doctrines of Yoritomo are of an imaginative type. His kingdom belongs to this world, and his theories seek less the joys of the hereafter than of that tangible happiness which is found in the realization of the manly virtues, and in that effort to create perfect harmony from which flows perfect peace. He takes us by the hand in order to lead us to the center of that Eden of knowledge where we have already discovered the art of persuasion, and that art, most difficult of all to acquire, the mastery of timidity. Following him, we shall penetrate once more this Eden, that we may study with Yoritomo the manner of acquiring this art, somewhat unattractive perhaps, but essentially primordial, called common sense. B. Dangenat. End of Section 0. Recording by Thomas Rose.